How can Genesis be reconciled with modern science? So there's a lot of controversy about whether or not things really happened the way they say that it happened in Genesis, right? So there's no contradiction between the facts of Genesis and the facts of science. The issue lies within the interpretation of Genesis and some of the theories of science. And what we have to, what I put on this slide is that what we have to remember is science is theory, right? The Bible and science appear to be in conflict. We must remember that scientific theories change and they could be right one day and wrong the next, right? A good example of that is the earth being flat. You know, that's a theory that changed over time. Psalms 105 says, "For the Lord is good, his mercy is everlasting, and his truth endures to all generations." The same is true with his knowledge, sovereignty, holiness, power, faithfulness, God, goodness, patience, grace, and even his wrath. His attributes never change. God's will never changes. So, what's the point of having that scripture? Well, let me explain it to you. Of the Jewish nation. So this is one of the doctrines that stood out in the reading is the doctrine of election. Election within the Bible is the notion that God favors some individuals and groups over others. An idea that finds the fullest expression in the Hebrew Bible affirmation supported in the New Testament that Israel is God's chosen people. And this is also the starting point of God's gradually unfolded plan for all the ages. Redemption of the nation continued. In Genesis, the redemption is being worked out in individuals. In Exodus, it's being worked out through the nation of Israel, with the central thought being redemption by blood. Okay, so it goes from the individual to the nation, right? To the nation as a whole. The children of Israel were first saved by the blood applied to the doorposts and of their homes during the first Passover. Because they applied blood, the death angel passed over the homes of the Israelites. After the deliverance in Egypt, God gave the Israelites the law as revelation to guide them through them in conduct and the worship in their new life. Right? It's supposed to be set in place as a guide for the entire nation. This revelation showed them the holiness of God and brought condemnation for their sins. So we have a new concept of actually being of condemnation for their sins, right? It's not new, but you know what I'm saying. It shifted. Nevertheless, the blood sacrifices provided under the law atoned for the sins and gave the people access to God. So now you're starting to see, this whole concept of atonement. The sanctification of a nation. Exodus is the book of deliverance. Leviticus is the book of purification. Exodus tells the redemption of the Jewish people. Leviticus relates their take application, right? It actually says, okay, now how do we apply this? How do we go forth and do what we're called to do? It has been well said they took only one night to get Israel out of Egypt, but it took 40 years to get Egypt out of them. The initial act of salvation, called justification, is that by which God declares man righteous. In this is illustrated in Exodus. Leviticus, on the other hand, is concerned with the process of making humankind righteous. Right? That's the whole purpose of it. No matter how you interpret it, the whole purpose is to make humankind righteous, and that's called sanctification. All right, so this is a breakdown of Leviticus. So on one side you have the way to God, the way to God, the access to God, and the walk with God, right? So you have like holiness, and then how to live holy, right? So you have your ritual for worship, and then you have the practical for living. Okay, so that's what the emphasis are. Um, the biggest theme is how sinful humanity should worship a holy God, right? Because we're broken, right? We're broken, we're dirty, we're not clean. And this Leviticus lays out ways for us to be able to be ritualistically clean and be able to approach a God. All right, let's see. The direction of the nation, book of Numbers. Numbers is the book of numbering and the wandering of the children of Israel. Numbers covers the time between 13 months after Exodus and the end of 40 years wandering. Numbers. The theme of Numbers is the gradual fulfillment of the promises of Abraham that his descendants would be the people of God and occupy the land of Canaan. The book shows the reality of God's presence with Israel in the cloud of fire over the tabernacle, but the repeated displays of unbelief by Israel delayed the entry into Canaan and cost many lives. Nevertheless, by the end of the book, Israel is poised to enter into the land. Pause the video for a minute for everyone to look at the breakdown of numbers, right? So the biggest thing I want to bring up about numbers is that you have the theme of the price of disbelief and disobedience. So you have the preparation, the pessimism, and then the punishment, the wandering, and the old generation dies off, right? So the old generation literally just dies off, and a new generation is poised to come forth. There's more details within the book, but that's what stood out for me. The old generation that passed, the new generation was prepared, and all that remained to be accomplished was for Moses to give the great farewell instruction of Deuteronomy. Then the people would realize God's ancient promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that promise reads like this: Genesis 13. 13 and 16. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. Arise, walk, 17 reads, arise, walk through the land in the length of it and in the breadth of it, for I will give it unto thee. Then Abraham removed his tent and came and dwelt in the plain of Morim, and which is Hebron, and built there an altar unto the Lord. All right, this is the last and final slide, and it's from Deuteronomy, and it just breaks down Deuteronomy. I'm going to pause and let you read it. So in Deuteronomy, we have, you know, the call of looking back, and then looking up and looking ahead. So the overall theme is remember to love the Lord your God and keep his commandments. And so that was the bigger thing, is that you got to keep his commandments. The Christ part of it is the Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet like me from among you, from your countrymen, and you shall listen to him. Moses himself is a type of Christ. Is a quite in the Old Testament. So this concludes our lecture. I'm sorry it was a little rough, but please, please, please keep up with your reading. Make sure that you comment, like the YouTube page, comment below for your attendance grade, and stay tuned to the next video.